undertaxed. I could go out here in the streets of Vail and ask people, are you undertaxed or overtaxed? That lady just stood up. I remember that, not elderly, but a middle-aged woman stood up, and it was an immigrant to America, God bless her. I'm going to say something about immigration for just a moment, but she said, look, we're taxed when we wake up, we're taxed when we go to sleep, we're taxed on income, we're taxed when we buy things. Two-thirds of the oil profits go to the federal government and state government taxes. I mean, she get off our back. And that was her line that got the big applause in Denver. But he basically said, look, if you're undertaxed, vote for Barack Obama. If you're overtaxed, if you think regulations are too high, if you think this economy is underperforming, vote for me and our party, and we will fight to make this economy grow again without inflation. He also talked about stabilizing the dollar. You want to bring the price of gas down? Want to bring the price of a barrel of oil down? Bring commodity prices down? Defend the U.S. dollar. A great country, Reagan said, has to have a great currency. And John yesterday said he will stabilize the dollar, make it strong again, and begin the process of making us independent of Mideastern oil by making sure we're drilling in places where we should be drilling. I was in the Congress during the debate over Anwar. John and I disagree over this. You can have your disagreements with John McCain, and as Tom will tell you, you ask him why he does something, why he believes something, it comes from here and it comes from here. But I've got the same feelings about America, and I think Anwar originally was set aside at least 1 million of the 20 million acres to drill. There's 20 billion barrels of oil. There's 80 billion barrels of oil on the outer continental shelf. Colorado. Barack Obama says we can't use Colorado shale or tar or Canadian shale or Canadian tar because it's dirty. Well, the whole purpose of technology is to take shale and tar, convert it to oil and natural gas to heat our homes, run our businesses, and make this valley, make this country what it was meant to be, and get us off of having to rely on some rather unsavory characters in the Middle East. So from the Iraq War to taxes, one last thought about taxes. He wants to cut the corporate tax rate. His economist in Aspen the other day said, how silly. American businesses don't pay too high a corporate tax. I said, wait a minute, we have the second highest corporate income tax rate in the world. Japan is higher, they're in a recession, we have a slow economy, and he wants to raise it. He wants to raise the income tax. I told the economist 52.5. He said, how can you say that? I said, well, he wants to lift the cap on the payroll tax. If the payroll tax, 12.5, is lifted, the cap is right now $105,000. So you pay the payroll tax up to $105,000. If you lift it, you pay it in perpetuity, ad infinitum, all the way to whatever you make. That's counting the 39.6% income tax and a 12.5% payroll tax. He's putting people in a 52.5% income tax bracket. And then, as I pointed out to Simi, if by chance you die in the next 30 years or so, I'm turned 73 this Sunday, and so I'm not planning for this for a long time. But he wants to raise the estate tax back to 55. Look, if you're taxed too low, don't vote for McCain. He understands this issue. He understands the economy a heck of a lot better than Barack Obama. And Obama's not John F. Kennedy. Barack Obama is George McGovern and Jimmy Carter redux. Last issue, in my opinion, after drilling and cutting tax rates and getting the economy growing again and stabilizing and strengthening the dollar and getting us out of the war with respect, honor, integrity, and respectability in the world is, who do we want on the Supreme Court? With all due respect, you can have your agreements or disagreements with Scalia, Alito, Roberts, etc. But I'll tell you what, the men and women we want on the Supreme Court understand that the courts should not decide law. They should interpret law. And that's what John has promised and pledged. And I think that's a very important point that he makes. And I finish with his statement that he made in South Carolina, John, when I happened to endorse him. He said, I believe you should, all Republican audience. And you wouldn't normally see it. Yeah. It was a primary, And he quoted Abraham Lincoln. Now, not a lot of Republicans go south and quote Lincoln, other than John McCain and Jack Kemp. He said, Lincoln believed you serve your party best by serving the country first. I love the Republican Party, but like John McCain, I love my country first. Put the country first, the party will take care of itself. You put the country first, make the economy the #1 issue, getting out of Iraq the right way an issue, the right men and women on the Supreme Court an issue, electing the right people to the state legislature and the United States Congress an issue, and with his record of credibility, integrity, and his defense of America and the free world, I am going to do all I can, along with Tom and John and Andre and you, to elect as our next President of the United States, John McCain.